This is a video that's almost a half hour long about how to make a fly swatter. But before you commit to that time, let me tell you what you're committing to, because it's a very detailed presentation on how to do that. But in just a few seconds, here's the idea. You're going to make a fly swatter. Now this fly swatter looks just like the fly swatters of old, what I call grandma's fly swatter. And to make it, you're going to make something which this is the original fly swatter, which you can see kind of fell apart. So you're going to need a few tools. One thing you're going to need, of course, is a handle, and you'll be using a coat hanger to make the fly swatter handle. A pair of pliers you can use to undo this and then to straighten it out. And then you're going to need some screen material, just aluminum screen. You may have one around. You can buy some from a hardware store. And that screen material is going to be folded over the top of this guy, which is the actual handle. And you need a piece of pipe here to roll out the hot glue. So that's the other piece of equipment you need. You need hot glue. You need scissors so you can trim the sides of the screen, and you'll be able to make a fly swatter like this. These guys work really great, as you'll see at the end of the video. They seem durable, they're very lethal, and they're fun to make. So let's get started. Today I'd like to show you how to make a fly swatter. A good fly swatter. A deadly fly swatter out of window screen, a coat hanger, and hot glue. Then a couple other things like scissors and, just obvious things you probably have around your house. So let's get started. Now, I'd just like to point out that there's a lot of tools that I've used in this thing. Fly swatters are, well, they're not very good. They have these plastic ones out now, which they're a joke. So we need the old metal one. Remember the one that had this as the base, and then it had that kind of head on it? Well, I had one of those for many years, but in the end, it just kind of didn't last forever. And the reason is simple. The stitching on the outside is through paper fiber, and so of course what happens is after enough wax, the paper starts to degrade, and then pretty soon the pieces of metal inside the screen there start to come apart, and then it's over. So I looked online for a new fly swatter, and I saw this plastic junk, and then I saw this one that was like, oh, the original. I mean, it even had the handle that looks like this, and it had the double twist here on the way up, and then at the top it had the whole thing. It even had the paper stitch around the top. So I thought, wow, this is fantastic. But just before I bought, I looked at the number one. Like you have 1 through 5 on the reviews. 5 is good, 1 is bad. I looked at the ones, and this guy pointed out that when he got it, after a couple of swats, the staples holding the screen on started to come apart. And I thought, oh, so this is not grandma's fly swatter. It actually looks like grandma's fly swatter, but like so many things these days, appearances can be deceiving. So I went out to my garage, and I thought, wow, this is great. I'll just take some of the screen and then, make my own. Well, it turns out screen is not screen. This screen here is nylon, which of course means it's way too floppy and would never work. But this screen, this is steel. And so as such, I figured I can just cut out something to work. So I'm going to show you the specific dimensions and how to build your own fly swatter. And then afterwards, I will give you a little treat, a test drive or a test kill, and show you that this guy actually is as good as grandma's. In fact, I think it's actually better, and I'll explain why in just a bit. What I'm going to use is this as my model, the old original, 5 centimeters on each side. And then the length of the thing is 39 centimeters. So it's 5 centimeters plus 39, that would be 44. 44 times 2 is 88. So let's see here if this guy is, if this wire that we're using is 88 centimeters long, because that's the length we're going to need. That's why I said be sure you get a long coat hanger. Now, selection of a coat hanger is fairly important. Notice that not all coat hangers are created equal. So I would definitely suggest that you use the biggest coat hanger you can find. I would suggest that it's long enough to be a handle on your fly swatter, that's long enough to trick the flies into thinking you're not near enough to do any damage. Pair of pliers, and then if you just go to the top here, you can twist it around like this, and it comes apart in 2 shakes of a lamb's tail. Now, I did have a pretty nice cutter like this before, and you can certainly cut off those last little bits, but even a pair of pliers will work to cut off, because the pliers has that nice little thing right at the base, and if you put the thing in there, then it actually doubles as a wire cutter. Then you take your pliers, and what you're going to try to do is, every time there's a curve, make it a straight. Every little curve, make it a straight. And then keep on going like that until it's one long straight piece. You should be able to take this guy and balance it at that point. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bend it into a circle, but you want to have, see the way there's kind of a nice large bend here, which means it's big enough to be a grip. If it's bent too tight, then it's going to flop around in your hand. So to do that, what I recommend you try doing is get a vise, and you don't have to do this, but if you have a vise, it's kind of cool. And take a pipe, and just put the pipe upright in the vise. That'll be the radius of curvature, which is fairly close to what we've got here. So the next thing is going to be to actually take a vice grips and put the one you're going to bend into this critical spot that you've already measured, and then with vice grips just hold it like so. Okay, then if you take it and bend around like that, whoa, it will make that nice radius of curvature that you are seeking to make a handle that's wide enough to give you some control. So off comes the vice grips, and you'll notice that we have a nicely bent handle. Pretty close to the original. Okay, by the way, this is half-inch galvanized pipe if you want to get something. You don't have to just bend it, but anyways, this is sort of the deluxe version. Okay, the next thing is to measure how long the handle is, starting at the tip of the handle and going up. Looks like we have about 15 centimeters, or 6 inches. All you're going to do is, you see the way there's this twisty motion there? There's twisty, it's handle, twisty, straight, twisty, head. So I'm just going to take this guy, and I'm going to make some twists in it. And if it's held in a vise, then that's easier to do. Twist backwards from what I twisted before, just because I want to be like Grandma. So we're getting that same twist action going here. And here it is kind of important that you end up having the same angle at your handle. So here's the handle like that, and if I go and look at the other part, see the way it's almost the same? And you want to have them the same because you're going to hold your fly swatter like this, and so you want the tip to be coming straight down like that. Take the Y at the top and make it like the Y inside here. You want to trim it at the tip because it's going to be too long. Like, remember these guys were 5 centimeters? So now I'm going to use my magic tool, made from Switzerland, at great expense to me. 62 bucks, did I tell you that already? Man, this guy's great. Felco, yeah, top quality brand. So I'm going to take this guy and trim it at 5 on both sides. Oh, we need to get this screen. We have lots of screen just sitting around. This is stuff that you can get just find an old window screen that's trashed and pull some out, or go to a junkyard, or you could even go and buy window screen at a hardware store. Now, this stuff here, notice this piece is not like what you'd think you'd want if you're only making a fly swatter this big. In fact, it looks like it's twice as big. It is twice as big. And here's where my breakthrough comes, because this stuff is going to unravel. So one way to keep it from unraveling is to fold it so the top of the screen here cannot unravel because it's a double layer. You want to double it over. It won't fray along the top, but the sides are going to fray like crazy. In fact, if you look, it's already starting to fray here a little bit. So in order to make it not fray, that's where the glue gun comes in. Get your hot glue ready, your roller, and your magic nonstick paper ready. And of course, your folded over, but not glued on the sides yet, screen. So when everything's ready, here's the way it works. I'm going to be putting a bead of glue down on one side here, and I'm going to try to start all the way at the top and stay pretty close to the edge. In fact, you can actually have some of the glue take off and go outside, because you're going to cut it off later. So anyway, let's get this junk out of here. So now we're going to take this guy and put a nice bead of glue all the way down here. And you don't have to go all the way down, because you're going to fold over the very end. Make sure there's plenty of glue there. Too much, it's not going to be a problem, you'll soon see. So then you put that down, line up the edges, fold it over, and then roll toward the outer edge. And if you roll toward the outer edge, then the excess glue is something you can cut off later. Put this guy inside, so it's centered, it's at the bottom, and now we're just going to take and fold over the two sides, we hope evenly. This is not easy to do, to get them the same, but it can be done. Okay, so now how do we make it so this thing stays together? Again, it's hot glue time, except you're going to be just pressing down, not with a roller, but with some nice flat object that you can just push with. And I'm going to use something like this. Put some hot glue inside there, and then I'm going to try to smush it down. I want to explain why I think this guy is so good before I go and demonstrate how good it is. See, this thing here has some heft, it's a double layer, but it's also pretty springy. And so because it's so springy, it will conform to the surface. So if you have a fly that's right on the edge, suppose we have a fly that's right here on the edge. Well, then what you can do is, if you come down like this and you're coming fast, the aluminum ends up curving around the thing, and so it conforms to the surface and then gives you a higher kill ratio. So, shall we go do some killing? Our quarry. So, think we can get him? Well, let's try here. Nice and slow. Take that, fly. We continue on our massacre. Ooh, window fly. Nice. Got him. Ooh. Windowsill fly. Oh yeah. Got him. Ooh. Sink fly. Oh, he got away? No, actually, got him. Got it, flew away with a different fly. And where did he go? Time to meet your maker, fly. Oh, here he is. Oh, where'd he go? Aye, there he is. Wow, now that's unusual. I have never seen a fly get smushed onto a fly swatter. And I've killed probably 40, 50 flies now. So I must have hit a little too hard. I was too excited. Okay, floor fly. Yeah, gotcha. So what's that, 5 in a row? These guys don't stand a chance. Come on, fly, give me a challenge. Well, gosh, I guess there's no more flies left. Happy problem with your new fly swatter.